Hello everyone and welcome to WhiskyWars. Different background because I'm currently at Yasmin's place. If you guys don't know who Yasmin is, I do recommend you check out a video that we did together. Oh, it must have been 2 to 3 weeks ago now. That was great fun filming that video. And we basically went through her first time trying different whiskies from Scotland. And there was some cash strengths in there as well. I thought she did really well. Anyway, I'm currently at her place, so the lighting and everything, I've tried to set it up reasonably well off the cuff. But why am I recording a video to you guys today? Well, a friend of mine, Sertug, also known as the Whisky Enthusiast, challenged me to do a video where I have to give my picks for one whiskey of my choice per region of Scotland. Now, I do recommend you check Sertug's channel out. I personally watch most of his videos. I think they're really informative and good fun to watch. And as many of you guys know, I will not say a whiskey is good if it's not good, and I will not say that a YouTuber is good if I do not personally watch their content. So the Whisky Enthusiast has my seal of approval. Okay, kicking things off. First things first, I am going to talk about 6 regions because I've always believed there's 6 regions of Scotland. I know some people will be typing comments already saying there's only 5, you don't know what you're talking about. I like to say there's 6, so I'm going to pick 6 because I really do feel the island should have their own region. I think they have a very unique flavour profile. But kicking things off, we're going to be starting off with probably the most popular region, I would say, and that's going to be Speyside. Famous for possibly being the least offensive and most mainstream of all the whisky regions of Scotland. For me, what do I like in a Speyside? I like something that's really rich in its red fruit profile, but it doesn't have to be overly complex. I just want something that's going to keep me company, something sweet, something I can just relax with. And certainly this is something I add a lot more during the summertime. Now today is the first day of Prime Day. This is being filmed on Tuesday and it's going to get posted on Wednesday. And I have purchased 2 whiskies, and that is the Benromic 10. So that is not my pick today because I've not tried it, but I'm really excited to try it. I know a lot of people talk very highly of this whiskey, so can't wait to get my hands on it. And the other whiskey was a Lowland whiskey, which I'll talk about later. By the way, guys, I also want to mention that I am only going to choose whiskies that I own full bottles of. I'm not going to choose whiskies that I've tried or tasted or sampled, full bottles only, as is most of my channel, to be honest with you. And I had a bottle of this before I started my channel, and I'm really upset because I just drank through it. I loved it. It's cash strength from Arbor. It's the Arbor Abernathy. Also, I love my history, and there is some history attached to this bottle. So Arbor had major renovations around 1973, and the workers there uncovered a little compartment hidden away, and it housed a bottle of Arbor from 1898. So pretty old stuff. I mean, we're talking 125 years old. So the workers went ahead and cracked it open and shared it between them without sending it in to their superiors, but people did manage to get the bottle before it was fully gone. So pretty cool story. I like to think you're having a little bit of history when you try the whiskey, which maybe has its own subconscious pro to the taste as well. You never know. But this whiskey is fantastic. Rich red fruits, but also elements of chocolate and orange peel. It's just a whiskey that I fell in love with. It's a whiskey that I've totally forgotten about as well. I've not had this whiskey in 4 or 5 years. I really do need to revisit it. It was an amazing whiskey. At that time, when I bought it for £45. It's now, apologies, the camera cut out. It's now £95. But Prime Day, it's around £65 right now, which I think is really good value for money. I recommend picking it up at that price. If you can afford it, it is a little bit expensive, but worth it. Okay, moving quickly on. I want to keep this video fairly short and informative for you guys. Let's venture over to the Highland region. And my choice is going to be something that's a good age, but also affordable. And for me, it's kind of like my house spirit flavour profile of the Highland region. That's why I want to include it today. It gives a fairly coastal nature to it, but it is, I'd say, a really balanced Highland malt. This is the Clynelish 14. It's bottled at 46% ABV, priced around the £42–43 mark in the UK today. And you're really going to get something different. I get a really waxy whiskey, which makes it a little bit more unique. And I really appreciate it for that. It's affordable, 14 years of age, a good proof as well, 46% too, that waxy, thicker texture to the whiskey. I get some red fruits on there, oakiness, waxiness, but a little bit of salinity as well with that sweetness. So it's really all-encompassing and quite balanced. A great whiskey. Really, really good whiskey. Okay, now we're heading south into the Lowland region. This is a region that I don't have too much experience about, and I don't mind admitting that at all. I have just purchased this morning the second bottle that I was talking about earlier to accompany the Benromach, and that's a Lowland whiskey. I really want to add to my Lowland whiskey collection. It's a very small collection. I have my own the Bladnocks, but this one is the Glasgow 1770. I believe it's the original one. It's Fresh and Lively, I think it's called. 46%. Anyway, I'm not going to be talking about that one. That's just something to keep your eyes peeled, because I will be filming a neck pour for that when it comes on Thursday. My pick for the Lowland region is going to be the Auchentoshan 3 Wood. Now this whiskey, I think it's a little bit underrated, I do. It's 3 wood, so 3 finishes of wood. We've got PX sherry cask, Oloroso sherry cask and ex-bourbon cask. And really what that's leaving you is something that doesn't really befit the Lowland region in terms of flavour profile because it's so sherried. But this is an incredibly thick, fruity, red fruits, but also dark fruits, black forest, chocolate gatto, cherries. You're getting a really all-encompassing jammy-like fruit compote consistency. It's really indulgent. This is probably one of my favourite dessert whiskies, and so I simply had to mention it. It's also available for a fairly affordable price. It's around £44 in the UK, but on offer it does drop to around £36. Again, another whiskey that I've not had in years, and I had this before I started my channel, which is why I've not reviewed it, unfortunately, but it is still a whiskey that I really recommend you go and pick up. Okay, let's talk about the controversial region. That's the Island region. Now, if you've seen my videos from a couple of months ago where I talk about my favourite island whiskies, this will come as no surprise what I'm going to pick right now. It's peated, it's 10 years of age, and it's from the Tobermory distillery. This is their peated line, so it's the Leipzig, and this is the Leipzig 10 year. Available for around £40 in the UK. This whiskey is incredible. You get sweet peat, salt, pepper, oakiness, a real mineral quality to the whiskey. I always think of like salty mineral rocks, salty sea air, whatever you perceive that to be. This is what I get in this whiskey, but also a nice earthiness to the whiskey. This for me is just a league above, a class above the Talisker 10. Now, I do want to get my hands on a new bottle of this whiskey because I have heard some rumours that it's not quite as good as it used to be when I had bought my bottle. So I hope that's not true. I will be looking at picking a bottle up in the future to do that comparison. I know some people have already asked for me to do that review. It's written down, it's definitely going to happen. It's just when I can pick that bottle up, I will do that review. Of course, everyone knows this has happened to the Talisker 10 before as well. Many people talk about the golden era with Talisker. It's not to be anymore, and from my experience, the Leipzig 10 is far better than the Talisker 10, so that is the island malt of choice for me. Again, affordable and accessible. I do want to keep this relatively in that realm, although this next whiskey from the Islay region is not too affordable. In fact, it's the most expensive whiskey that I've bought. I genuinely put it in here because it's value for money, which shocked even me. Now, I wanted this whiskey for many, many years. I finally picked it up at the start of the year. It's 16 years of age, bottled at 48% ABV. This is the laphroaig 16 year. And let me just tell you what an amazing whiskey this is. Now, this may not be for everyone, And at £85, this is not a cheap whiskey. And so there will be some people who end up buying this whiskey who aren't blown away by the whiskey. But if you like the notes that I'm just going to talk about now, and I'm just going to talk about 2 notes, pine and vanilla cream, and you already like laphroaig, you've got to get this whiskey. You've got to get it, trust me. It's really a more refined, softened up laphroaig, but with the addition of vanilla cream, but pine resin. I adore this whiskey. I love pine, I love it in fragrance, and I love it in my whiskey as well. Now, if you checked out Monday's video, I reviewed the Ardbeg Corrie Wrekin. Now that is definitely one of my favourite Islay whiskies. However, I prefer the laphroaig 16. I really am blown away by this whiskey. I think it's amazing. Okay, let's talk about Campbeltown. Now this is one of my favourite regions of Scotland. I adore Campbeltowns. And it took me quite a few years to first dip my toes into the Campbeltown region, but I'm so glad that I did. A truly unique region, and not everyone will love it, but everyone does have to try it. I'll be honest with you guys, I would choose a Springbank today. I have the 15-year and the 12-year cask strength edition, and they're simply wonderful. But I won't be buying them again, and they're hard to get hold of, so I'm just not going to talk about them. So I'm going to move to a Glen Scotia, and this is a cask strength. I picked it up at duty free. I feel a bit bad about doing this one as well because accessibility is quite hard because there was only 2,000 bottlings made, but I just happened to come across it in duty free. And this is a Glen Scotia 10-year cask strength. The neck pour has not come out for this whiskey yet, but it's a good one. You don't want to miss it, that's for sure. I love this whiskey. I don't want to say too much, but it is a fantastic whiskey and I'm really enjoying it. Such an unusual flavour. There's marmalade in there. It's not heavily peated, but it's marmaladey, oily, but there's this dirty nature to it that's just so hard to explain if you've not had Campbeltowns before. Something that I've not experienced with other Campbeltowns. Springbanks, yes, but they are more peated. The dirtiness in this whiskey is incredible. Now I picked this whiskey up for around £45 at duty free. I could be slightly wrong with that, it's just hard to remember exactly. Usually when I track things online I know really well what their price is and what it goes to, but just seeing it once in an airport duty free it's hard to sometimes remember. But a truly fantastic dram. I think in the neck pour I referred to it as marmalade on toast with a toffee sauce that's also got this really dirty oily nature to it. It's really nice. Now what I will say is I don't think most people will like that whiskey because it's a really, I think it will offend some people to be honest with you, but for me it was right up my alley. So my pick for the Campbeltown region, definitely Glen Scotia 10-year cask strength. So there we have it guys, they're my 6 whiskies for the 6 different regions of Scotland, 5 official, I know. Thank you Sertug for the challenge today. And in the spirit of the competition that's been set up by Jeff Whiskey, who I also recommend you check out because he does fantastic content too, definitely one of the more entertaining of the YouTubers out there. I started my channel about a month after Jeff did, so we've had an eye on each other's content for quite some time, since the beginning of our channels really. And so in the spirit of that, I'm going to challenge John from the Whisky Neighbour. John is another whiskey YouTuber, but from Canada, and he's an OG of the channel as well. So I really do recommend that you give John's channel a check out as well. John talks a lot about scotch on his channel, but if you want to learn more about bourbon or Canadian whiskies, which I really want to get into myself, there's no one better on YouTube. So John, I challenge you to pick your favourite whiskies from the regions of Scotland. I'm really interested to see what you pick. I think I know 2 of them. What they're going to be from what I've seen from your reviews in the past. And secondly, I want to challenge a an amazing couple from America, Sean and his wife Jean from MultiCasking. The challenge is out to you guys too. I want to see what you guys come up with for your regions too. Okay, thank you so much guys. Thank you so much for watching the video guys. If you like the video, please drop a like on the video and don't forget to click that subscribe button down below. I've recently started a Patreon account, so if that's something that interests you and you want to help the channel out, the link is down below or in my about section of my YouTube page. And finally, I just want to say a big thank you to the Patreon members that have already signed up. You've enabled me to pick these two whiskies up. I'm so excited to try them, open them up and share them on the channel. So thank you so much for helping the channel out. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you all for the next Whisky War. Just quickly, on Friday, the neck pours continue. We have the Talisker Port Re coming on Friday, followed by its Whisky War against the Talisker Distillers Edition on Monday. So if you're excited, please do click that subscribe button so you won't miss the videos when they come out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all for the next Whisky War.